Let's just push them back. Yep, see? They just get launched way back, and it's like they never even did anything on their turn. Hello, and welcome to Build-a-Barbarian Workshop. Today's video is going to be a little more lightly edited than my usual fare. I'm traveling for work, so I have less time to spend on the video than I would ordinarily, but I wanted to get something out anyways. So for this video, I want to talk about a two-character combo that I think is really fun and synergistic, and that is the combo between Warlocks and Druids. So I have Will here, who'll be playing the part of the Warlock, and then I have Respect Shadowheart here to play the part of the Druid. I want to demonstrate this at a point in the game before you get Halsin. So Shadowheart will be cosplaying as a Druid for this demonstration. But the main synergy that we're working around here is the synergy between the Druid spell list and the Warlock invocation Repelling Blast, which allows you to turn your Eldritch Blasts into knockback effects. So I'll talk more about this in a moment, but Druid has a lot of spells on their spell list, all the way from level 1 to level 12, that are just really good for pushing enemies into. So one of the sort of more powerful, more popular ones is Spike Growth. Creates an area of difficult terrain that deals 2d4 piercing damage to enemies walking through them. So, you know, this is just a good spell to be pushing people into, because we get more mileage out of the spell. But the Druid spell list is kind of just full of spells like this, and I'll talk about a few of my favorites, and then why I think it's good to combine them with Repelling Blast. But then also at the end of the video, I'm going to demonstrate the sort of synergy that these characters have in a fight at the end of Act 1, which is the fight with the undead in the Mountain Pass, sort of infamous for being really hard at the point that you encounter it. But I'll show you that these characters are able to beat it just by themselves. Just two characters taking minimal damage, just using some sort of very simple synergies, are able to make quick work of it. So let's start with the ability breakdown and get right to it. All right, starting with Warlock. The most important ability that Warlock has for this combo is the Invocation Repelling Blast. Very well-known invocation in both this game and in tabletop, and well-known for good reason. It's extremely strong. So Repelling Blast is a toggleable passive that allows you to turn your Eldritch Blasts into knockback effects. They can move the creature up to 15 feet away from you, which is a lot. That's actually more than it is in tabletop. It's 10 feet in tabletop. So Eldritch Blast, you get more beams at higher levels. So at level 5, you get some more, and at level 11, you have yet more. And so you can be Eldritch Blasting a lot of enemies and pushing them back really far. I mean, theoretically, if you shot all 3 blasts at the same person, you can knock them back 45 feet, which is crazy. It's so far. So this ability is really good because it allows us to push enemies back into area denial effects if they manage to run out of them. And it also allows us to just slow them down. So if they're trying to run through our Spike Growth, we can hit them with Repelling Blast, and that's more distance they have to run. And with Spike Growth, you know, every 5 feet of distance they run is an additional 2d4 damage. So Repelling Blast and Spike Growth, you know, it's also a damage combo, because if you push them back 15 feet, that's 6d4 additional damage they take in order to cross it. So this is an incredibly strong ability, and really strong in an area denial party in particular. Besides that, Warlock also has access to a fantastic area denial spell of its own, which is the spell Hunger of Hadar. So this is nice because it creates difficult terrain, deals damage, and blinds enemies. And a blinded enemy can't... the range of its abilities is reduced to 10 feet. That's part of the blinded condition. What this allows us to do is makes it so enemies that have ranged attacks are also penalized. You know, we can slow them down with area denial effects from our Druid. This makes it so even if they have ranged effects, they're also unable to hit us. So just a really good spell all around, and a really good spell to be blasting people into. Another great area denial spell. This one isn't really area denial, but Cloud of Daggers. just because each time you hit them into it, it does damage. So you can cast it, deal damage. On their turn, it'll deal damage. They'll move out of it, and then you push them back in with your Repelling Blast. It'll deal damage yet again. So, yeah, pretty solid damage dealing spell if you have a pushing strategy. All right, moving on to Druid. So Druid is going to be the class that's supplying us with our area denial spells. So I already mentioned Spike Growth and why it combines so well with Repelling Blast. It gives you more damage and it slows them down, so just a great thing to be pushing them into. But Druid has a lot of spells that are sort of similar to this. So I'm going to go through some of the lower level ones, but they have these throughout their entire spell list. So another one you get, level 2 spell, Moonbeam. Moonbeam is sort of in a similar category as Cloud of Daggers in that it's a great thing to push people back into. So you cast it, it deals damage, and then once they've moved out of it, you can Eldritch Blast them back through it to deal damage yet again. Solid combo with Repelling Blast right there. Another area denial spell that I want to talk about is Plant Growth. So Plant Growth creates an area of effect that's similar to Difficult Terrain, but twice as debilitating. It causes creatures moving through it to have their movement speed quartered. So if you want to move 1 foot through Plant Growth area, you need to spend 4 feet of movement. And so, most characters, they have a standard speed of 30 feet usually. So if they spend all their movement, they're only going to move 7.5 feet, which is not very far at all. And even if they dash, they're only moving 15 feet. So it's got a radius of 20 feet. So depending on placement, it's not uncommon to be able to force enemies to dash twice to get to you. And that is really good. I think it's easy to miss how good that is. An enemy that spends its turn dashing twice, that's as powerful a crowd control effect as incapacitating them for 2 turns. And that's what Hypnotic Pattern does in this game. 2 turns of incapacitation. And Plant Growth does it without a saving throw. It just happens. They have no chance to resist it. Now, there are some caveats there. You have to worry about placement. They may be able to go around it or jump over portions of it. But so I wouldn't say it's like always incredible, but when it's kind of situational. When it's good, it's really, really good. And then also, let's think about how good this is with Repelling Blast in particular. So if they have to spend all of their movement in order to... if they spend their entire turn dashing, they only move 15 feet, Repelling Blast pushes them back 15 feet by itself. So that means that we only have to hit them with 1 Repelling Blast to negate all the progress they made that turn. So if you have enemies that only have melee attacks, you can just lock them out of combat indefinitely with Repelling Blast and Plant Growth. That is just a combo that just prevents them from doing anything. Now, most enemies have a ranged attack or spells, but there's ways to handle that. And the important thing to remember on that note is that Plant Growth does not take concentration. Unlike most spells that create these sorts of effects, like Spike Growth, which is also Difficult Terrain, you have to be concentrating on it. But Plant Growth, you don't. So you can cast Plant Growth, and then you can cast something else. You can cast Moonbeam if you want to be dealing damage, or, I don't have it prepared right now for some reason, you can cast Fog Cloud. And Fog Cloud blinds enemies, and a blinded enemy has its range reduced to 10 feet. So if you can get the placement right, Plant Growth and Fog Cloud can take enemies out of the fight, even if they have spells. So really powerful combo there. Plant Growth does have one big weakness that I want to talk about really quick, which is that the entire area goes up in flames if you deal fire damage to anyone or anything in the area. So you don't accidentally light it on fire with Produce Flame. You can't be dealing fire damage if you want to use it effectively. But in addition to that, it'll go up into smoke even if you touch candles in the world. So just to demonstrate that really quick, just cast it here and it will immediately burst into flames and the area will get destroyed. So pretty annoying. I don't know why these plants are quite so flammable, but you just have to be kind of cognizant of that when you're using it. Something to keep in mind about the torch problem, though, is most candles and torches in this game can be extinguished. So if you're trying to use Plant Growth in a fight where you can prepare beforehand, which I find is somewhat common, you can just go like this. Just put them out yourself, and then get into position and cast the spell. So that makes it so you can use it in a little bit more situations. See, it'll be safe now. See, he does not burst into flames. So I still would say Plant Growth is a situational spell, but it is so good in the situations that it's good that I like to have it. And remember, druids are prepared casters, so you can just swap out your preparations whenever you want. If you're going to be in a fight where Plant Growth won't work, just get rid of it. And then prepare it if it's going to be useful. All right, now I'm going to demonstrate a fight where Plant Growth really shines, and where this 2-character combo shines in particular. And that is the fight with Undead in the Mountain Pass. And this fight is really sort of notorious for being very difficult at the moment that you first encounter it, which, depending on the order you go, you may only be level 5 or 6. And that's because it has these Death Shepherds, these guys that are waltzing around here. So these guys are very annoying because they have the ability to resurrect allied undead. And they can even resurrect each other, so they're just very difficult to keep down. But they're especially difficult because of the other enemies in the fight, which can paralyze you. So, for example, there's this Ghast that has like 60 or 70 health, and it'll paralyze you if it hits you. So you really want to focus it down. But you can't focus it down, because if you do, it'll just get resurrected by the Death Shepherds. So you have to focus them down first. So it's a very, very sort of devious design, I must say. If the DM did this to you, you'd be like, what the hell, man? But Larian decided to drop it on you. So if you just kind of go in sword swinging, you're going to probably lose at level 5, even with a very optimal party. I mean, it kind of depends on how you go at it. But I'm going to show you that this 2-character combo can beat it all by themselves. It's actually very easy with this combo. Just to show off that the power of this combo really just comes from the abilities themselves, not from anything else, I'm going to be using just a very stripped down version of these characters. So I've got Will here, just his absolute base setup, haven't respected him at all. I just put his feet in an ability score improvement, and he doesn't have any equipment. He's just got his starting equipment. As for Shadowheart, she just has this scale mail on. But yeah, not a super optimal character as well. I do have the alert feat, which is pretty helpful here, but I wouldn't say it's absolutely necessary. And she's level 5 as well. And, this fight, you ordinarily do it at level 6, so doing it a little earlier than you might want to normally. And also, I'll be doing it on Tactician. All right, so to get this fight started, I'm going to have Shadowheart move up in turn-based mode. I'm going to have her move up and cast Plant Growth right in this choke point right here. So this is the first reason why Plant Growth works especially well in this fight in particular, which is that there's a natural choke point. So I can just put it right here, and in order for them to reach me, they're going to have to cross, basically the entire area of the spell. So that is very good for me, because it increases the amount of time they have to waste dashing to get to me. Just have Will come up here, and we're going to have Will move up. Well, actually, we have him dash to start combat. Normally wouldn't want to do this, but hey. There we go. Just trying to get combat started. He might actually get hit a few times, but it doesn't really matter. So Shadowheart's going to move up, and so her concentration is not occupied, the big advantage of Plant Growth. So I'm going to have her cast Moonbeam. That's going to be the main way she deals damage this combat. And we'll start by hitting the Death Shepherds. We want to kill the Death Shepherds first, because otherwise they'll resurrect everybody. So then just end her turn. So see, they kind of all get stopped by the area here. I also like that they're kind of bunching up. That'll make it easier to hit lots of them with Moonbeams. All right, now we want Will to move back out. And we want him to do the second ingredient here, which is Hunger of Hadar. And Hunger of Hadar is good because it will blind them. So these Death Shepherds actually have ranged attacks, so they won't be able to use those on me. And then it'll also deal damage to them every turn. So we do that, and then on future turns, he's just going to start blasting.
I started blasting. Bang! Bang!
The other Death Shepherd's going to move into position. Yes, see, that's what I didn't want them to do. All right, so now we can start hitting them with moonbeams. So let's have Shadowheart move this one right here. And the other nice thing is this choke point kind of makes them all get clogged together, and they kind of are blocking each other, so they're just not making much progress at all. He's getting a little close, he's getting a little close. Let's push him back. Oh, that's funny. This one was behind him, so he was blocked from getting pushed back. That happens sometimes. Yep, and they're going to keep getting resurrected, but that's honestly not a big deal. Okay, we are going to go ahead and knock this one back because it's getting a little close for comfort. So we'll do... Oh, and because they're blinded, we have advantage, so it's really easy to hit them. And yeah, let's just push them back. Yep, see? They just get launched way back, and it's like they never even did anything on their turn. Yes, he's going to resurrect his friend. It's funny, he's walking backwards because he wants to resurrect his friend, but I guess he doesn't realize that actually that is only helping me. Good. Let's try to whittle him down. Death Shepherds are getting low, which is what we want. Let's see if we can hit them both again. There, one down. There we go. He's dead. So this fight, you know, it hasn't been difficult. So let's just clean up the rest of them. All right, that's it. So that's a funny bug. He is dead, but still standing. So yeah, we only took a little bit of damage, which is the damage Will took from that one ranged attack, but they never even got close to getting out of the area. They were just completely locked down. And it's a very effective combo, and because it blinds them as well, you can even do it on enemies that have ranged attacks. It just kind of depends on the positioning in the combat. Well, that's all I have for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I really encourage you to try out the Repelling Blast build if you haven't already. I think it's really fun. I mean, I personally just find it knockback effects really fun and entertaining. You know, the main downside to shoving enemies to their death is if you do it off the edge, you don't have access to their loot. But this gives you a way to shove them to their death without losing their body. You shove them into a spell. So it's really fun. It stays relevant for your entire run, all the way from level 2 when you get Repelling Blast all the way to the end of the game, because Druid has area of effect spells that are effective throughout the whole game. You get Wall of Fire, you get Insect Plague, you get Wall of Thorns. So you always have something to knock people into, and it's a lot of fun. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. It really helps the channel. I do have more videos in the works. I fell behind a little bit because of work, but I have one I've been working on that I'm very excited about. I don't want to spoil it too much, but let's just say that it's a barbarian that is also a healer. So I'll just leave that as a taste of what's to come. So more videos next time, and talk to you then.